I'm sorry to share with you. My name is Fazl Sheikh. I'm a professor at Princeton University. I have the grace of visiting this week with 16 members of the community of Princeton, sponsored by the Humanities Council Environmental Institute. And the concern is this: if I understood correctly, a few moments ago you mentioned that environmental issues fall within your purview directly?
My implication was that where there are federal government responsibilities environmentally on the reservation, those would fall in my purview, as opposed to, for instance, law enforcement and other issues that would fall under someone else's.
Okay, then I've understood you correctly. I spent the last 2 years here at the grace of many of the communities living in the region, and I've been documenting the ravages to the landscape. Ravages brought by uranium, oil, gas, and coal. I've listened to people across this community speak of the ravages that have been wrought, not only on their family members, but the broader community. And we also were visiting last night at your meeting in Bluff, and I listened to a woman speak about her family near White Mesa, asking you about how it's possible that so many of her family members have been impacted by cancer. She went on to ask you about uranium, and your answer was to elide the question. You said you didn't really know much about it. Now, I've also heard you say that you've been here previously. We've only been here 1 week, and we understand the severity of these actions, the severity of wet mining and extractive industries have wrought in these communities. And I guess what I have to say is I find that unacceptable that you don't know, having been here prior, having certainly heard such concerns raised in that prior visit, that you can come back for 2 days and claim not to know anything about these issues. And then I think about how I actually can transport that effectively. And I think what I would vow is not only for myself, but I'm going to ask my community at Princeton to interrogate very carefully, to continue the mode of documentation, interrogation of what is happening in the southern aspect of this state, and to propose to you directly the severity of those specific spaces, and ask for a clear answer if you don't have one today. Do you have a response to that question, sir?
I do, and I don't mind telling you that I'm equally frustrated by those of you who have come into this community and feel like you have all the answers for them. Not a single one of those was raised on my last town hall meeting here. Not one. Not one.
Not a single what was raised?
Environmental issue.
That's not correct. The woman was weeping when she was telling you about...
I'm talking about last year.
Okay, well, I can't speak to last year. I can't speak to
No.
last night, and I can speak
Right.
to today.
So I'm telling you that this is the first time that this community has brought these environmental
Is that not
issues.
essential for you to apprise yourself of what's going on in these counties? Is there a congressman? I'm speaking as an outsider. I'm not
So,
speaking as a member of the community here. I'm just a visitor.
do you have any idea the wealth of issues involved, not in just this community, but throughout my district? Do you
So
know
it's
that,
not a significant set of issues.
do you know that 2 days ago I met with somebody in Monticello, in Anglo, who felt like that the cancer rate in Monticello far exceeded the cancer rate across the United States.
Equally unacceptable.
Yeah, I agree, right? But you want me to wave a wand and solve all these problems that
No, I want
nobody's
you to be
touching.
interested in those issues. You've said variously yesterday and today that you know nothing about them.
That's correct.
One need only pick up a paper to read about what's happening in the southern part of the state, or even across the state, to be aware of that.
So I think you've made your point, and my point to you is that I'm very dependent on these leaders, on President Nez, for channeling to me the issues that are important to him and to his people. You've heard of somebody who waited 2 hours for law enforcement to respond to a missing 4-year-old that's still not found.
Equally essential issue.
Right, and my point is there's a myriad of these important issues. And yes, it is my responsibility to go find out what all of them are. There is also some responsibility for them to bring them to my attention and to prioritize those and let me answer let me work on the ones that are most important to them. I cannot I cannot solve all the environmental issues here overnight. I just can't. I don't even know what they all are.
Okay, but you have acknowledged here today that that is within your wheelhouse, that is within your toolbox specifically.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good to know, because we'd be delighted to help collaborate with any community members who would like to compile material to send to you.
And my request last night and my request this morning is to work with these local elected officials to help them articulate what you see and bring it to their attention and help them prioritize it.
Mr. Congress, I'd like to make a comment on that issue. This is our issue, sir. You've been here a few days, and you seem to know all the knowledge, know the solution. I don't think that's right, saying interferes. You're overstepping. We're the one that suffered these issues. We know the inside out. I really appreciate that you could look at it this way. I don't know how long you're going to be here, and I don't know how much you gather, but respect us, our native people in this area. We're trying to work with our leader, elected leader, on these issues that really affect us. So it's been happening to us, all these the bears here. We got big people from Texas, California, Phoenix came in, said this is how you're going to do it. We got tribe from New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado said this is how we would like you. We want you to structure it. We don't appreciate that. Myself, I really don't appreciate it. And this bill 871, I heard, but I'd love to get a copy and see what it says about, and the chapter, where it stands, and how much input they have from this chapter. So people like that, it's just causing a lot of conflicts, a lot of distraction. But we'll have a good side of what these issues affect, how it's affecting us. So if you don't mind, stay back. That's what I want to say. Because Tom Long is happy with us. And just want to make the comment on why the state can't come in to our land to offer service. I think sovereignty is the issue. We need to lower it, like Mr. Gray has mentioned, lower it down to so that we wait for us to talk with you, share with you how you want us to help you, or me to you help us. That's what I really want to. My last meeting at Anna, we plan to I construct an agreement, say we got law enforcement. This is how we can collaborate and work with it in certain ways. Just like Mr. Rayburn mentioned, serious crime rising. Through MOA, we can do a lot of things. I don't know how much the tribe's going to come in about helping us, which we've been looking for many years. It's not happening. So we take our own initiative to construct some of these that we think is a way that establish these agreement with the agency, with law enforcement particularly. We can do it with other maybe agency to address our issue. And where we need help, we like you to step in and say, this is how we should be. So that's what I'm going to say. That's my stand on some of these things. Thank you.
I'd like to also speak to the issue of uranium. I think that's a deadly substance. As we know, that has taken a lot of our family members. Both my grandmother, my uncles, my daughter almost had an accident and able to recover. Those are some of the things that we don't know how to address. We don't know what the cure is. In terms of that, there are communities that are being endangered for instance, like White Mesa, there's the only one of its kind uranium mill is situated between Blanding and White Mesa community. That particular uranium process has a collecting pool, which is not to standard according to the EPA, environmentalists and so forth. That particular catchment is just out of dirt, and that seepage is infiltrating down into the layers of rocks into the aquifer. It's almost reaching the aquifer that supplies White Mesa community. That's, by the time it reaches, you're not gonna, they're asking for water also, potable water. And they're asking the Blanding City Council, but they're not being apprised. They're not being given a cup of water. So those are some of the issues. The downwinders are still affected. We have grounds. The wind travels from south to northwest, northeast. Many of those are still affected. How will we take care of them? I think the issue itself is without boundary. Anybody can speak to it. Why are we protecting those dangerous substance areas that we need to talk about? And those are costly things to families that are affected or in treatments, in places where they provide appropriate treatments. And those family members that are at home have to dig into their pocket to travel back and forth, which burns up the funding resources to pay bills every month, whatever they might have. So that's the impeding problems that we have. So, Congressman, I'd like to, here is a picture of the reclaimed area, but it still has a dangerous level of radiation. You can never, ever, unless you put it into space somewhere, spent fuel, tailings, Mexican hat. So those are some of the things. Probably if it ever gets to a period where it's eroded, it will erode into the San Juan River. It's right next to it. So those are some of the issues that we need to, not in the confrontational mode, but in the understanding mode to talk about. So, thank you.
Just to also let you know, Congressman, a lot of these artesian wells where people used to bring the horses and cattle and animals are all shut down. A lot of these waters, there's no water. We have selenium, magnesium, manganese, there's hundreds and hundreds of different contamination within the water that we can filtrate. But one thing that we cannot filtrate is uranium. We have all that in the water now. So that's one of the reasons why, if you notice, there's a bunch of wells here, they're shut down because of the uranium in the water. So that's the other thing that's kind of luring us in, and we're losing water every day because the contamination won't go away.
I'd like to say something to you before the 25 minutes is up. My name is Tara Benali. I'm a resident here in Mexican Water. I met you a year ago at the Wilderness Week lobbying in Washington, D.C. I sat down with you and talked to you about bear's ears. But at the time, I wasn't advocating for uranium sites. But since then, I have started advocating for uranium sites for the people. There are over 500 uranium sites alone on Navajo Nation. Some of those is in part of San Juan County, as you see there. This is a concrete pad, clay-based pad that's 24 inches thick, and it's 65 acres, square acres. It has erosion, just like Mariage said here, and it erodes. And this has to be maintained for the next thousands of years, whether it's through monitors or sensors in the area, and through the windy season and through the rainy seasons that we have. This has a lot of erosion. There is millions and millions of dollars just on this site that's being spent to maintain it, yes. And so just that alone, that site alone, and the 500 other sites on Navajo, you can imagine what our people are suffering on a day-to-day basis. How many of our family members we are losing on a day-to-day basis. So this is the 500 sites plus sites on Navajo Nation is an issue. Bears Ears is only 1.9 million acres that we are asking for. That hasn't been touched. It hasn't been damaged. It's still in its pristine state. Bears Ears is nothing compared to what bigger and better the Western society has done to us back in the 50s and the 60s. We're only asking for 1.9 acres over there because that's our medicine. That is our spirituality. That's who identifies us. That is who we are. That is our medicine. This has killed us time and time again. Like you heard my brother say, Sammy D, through other gas as well, and oil and gas as well over here in Aneth and Montezuma Creek. That's killing us on